Roughly 157 people move to Charlotte every single day. And that's not a typo. That's 157 human beings every 24 hours packing up and choosing this city on purpose. And here's the part that should make you sit up. A lot of them already did their homework long before they ever got here. They've got equity, they've got a plan, and whether they mean to or not, they are quietly making your home search harder than it needs to be. By the end of this video, I'm going to tell you exactly where all these people are coming from, why they're picking Charlotte over Atlanta, Nashville, Tampa, all of it, and the one decision every single one of them ends up wrestling with that quietly controls your taxes, your commute, and your kids' schools for the next 10 years. Stay with me to the end for that last part, because that's where I watch people moving here make their biggest mistake. And I really don't want that to be you. If we haven't met yet, I'm Evie DeJesus, a realtor here in the Charlotte metro area. And I work both sides of the border, North Carolina and South Carolina. My whole thing is helping families relocate here without making the six-figure mistakes I watch people make over and over. So if you're even thinking about making a move to Charlotte, do yourself a favor and hit subscribe, because I make this stuff for you. All right, let's get into it. Let's start with that number, because it really is kind of wild. Charlotte is adding somewhere around 157 new residents a day. That's about 57,300 people a year just from people moving in. And no, I'm not talking about babies being born. I'm talking about grown adults physically packing up and choosing this place. And that kind of growth doesn't happen by accident. So the first question is the obvious one. Who are all these people, and where on earth are they coming from? Here's where it gets interesting. More than 60% of the people moving into Mecklenburg County, that's the county Charlotte sits in, they are coming from completely outside North Carolina. And number one on that list, Florida. About 14% of everybody moving into the state. So shout out to all my Florida people trading the humidity for slightly less humidity. After that, it's our neighbors in South Carolina, then Virginia at around 9%, and then the big expensive metros people are running from. You've got New York, Georgia, California, places where folks finally looked at their cost of living and said, yeah, I'm out. But it's not all out-of-staters. A real chunk of this is inside state movement. The biggest state feeder is the Raleigh-Cary area. About 14% of everybody moving here from inside North Carolina. Then comes Hickory, then the Greensboro, Winston-Salem area. Basically, half the state packed a U-Haul and pointed it straight at Charlotte. And then there's a third wave that almost nobody talks about. People who already live in Charlotte who are packing up and crossing the state line into South Carolina. But hold on to that one, because it's a little bit of a plot twist, and I'm coming back to it. So why here? Why is everybody picking Charlotte? A few real reasons. Number one, the jobs. Charlotte is one of the biggest banking and finance hubs in the entire country. And on top of that, we've got a healthcare scene and a tech scene that are both booming. Number two, and this is the big one for the out-of-state crowd, the math just makes sense. If you're coming from New York or California, Charlotte honestly feels like everything's on sale. Your dollar stretches further, the winters are mild, and we've got a major airport that'll fly you almost anywhere nonstop. So people look at all that and they go, wait, why am I still paying what I'm paying up north? And then they come. But, and here's the big but, all of that demand has a flip side if you're the one trying to actually buy a house here. A lot of these out-of-state buyers are showing up with big market budgets and their homework already done. They've sold a place up north, they're sitting on equity, and they're ready to move fast. Therefore, when you finally walk into a home you love, you're not just competing with a family down the street. You might be going head to head with somebody who can write a very strong offer and isn't blinking. The median home price in Charlotte right now is hovering somewhere around $435,000, and the well-priced ones in the right pockets are moving quick. So the worst thing you can do is show up to this market unprepared and surprised. Now, I put together a Charlotte relocation guide. It's linked right below in the description, or if you honestly rather just talk it through with a real human being instead of reading a guide, my number is right here. Call me, text me, whatever's easier. Okay, now let me get back to that plot twist I promised you. Remember those people leaving Charlotte for North Carolina? Here's why that's happening. The Charlotte Metro is one of the only major metros in the whole country that's split right across two states. So you've got the North Carolina side, and then just across the line, you've got South Carolina towns like Fort Mill and Indian Land. And here's the kicker. South Carolina taxes your primary home very differently than North Carolina does. For a lot of families, that difference adds up to real money in your pocket every single year. And that tax structure is a huge part of why those border towns are booming the way that they are. So this brings us to the decision every single person moving here ends up wrestling with. And this is the part I told you to stay for, North Carolina or South Carolina, because I promise you, it is so much bigger than a line on the map. That one choice changes your property taxes, it changes your commute. And listen, I-77 at 8 in the morning is a real deal and patience tester. We should talk about that before you fall in love with anything. And it changes which schools your kids are zoned for. And here's a mistake I see constantly. People pick a side based purely on the house. They fall in love, they sign, they move, and then they deal with the commute or the tax bill after the fact. The house is honestly the easy part. The side of the border is the part that actually shapes your everyday life. So let me ask you straight up. Are you team North Carolina or team South Carolina? Drop it in the comments and tell me where you're moving from while you're at it. And I'll give you my honest take on which side tends to fit somebody in your situation. So let's bring it all home. Around 157 people a day are choosing Charlotte. They're coming from Florida, South Carolina, Virginia, New York, Georgia, California, and plenty from right here in state like Raleigh, Hickory, and the Triad area. They're chasing the jobs, the lower cost of living, and yes, the weather. The demand is real, the competition is real, and the single biggest decision sitting right in front of you is not the house. It's which side of that state line you decide to build your life on. Get that one part right, and I'm telling you, everything else about this move gets so much easier. So if you are serious about making this happen, please don't do it blind. Grab that relocation guide down in the description or just call me at the number on the screen and let's actually map out your move together. North Carolina, South Carolina, all of it. I do this every single week and I would genuinely love to help you land soft. I'm Evie DeJesus. I'll see you in the next video. I'm talking land next week. Later.